This is the Jae Choe Show, brought to you by Karate Beyond. Discipline, focus, confidence. KarateBeyond.com. Let's begin.
All right. So this is round two. This is take two. JJ Show episode 109. I'm here again with Mr. Jermaine Thornton of FDT Florida Dance Theater. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you so much.
No, we did our first. We did this episode, and then after it was all said and done, I called you back. I'm like, shit, sorry, man. the audio wasn't like it. The levels weren't good enough, and so thank you for being gracious enough to come back on the show. And this is great because we know each other better, and you know, you'd be more comfortable on the mic, and you can, you know, just say your piece. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Jermaine is the director of Florida Dance Theater here in Lakeland, which is, for all intents and purposes, like the premier dance studio, the premier dance organization. You guys put on many shows throughout the year. In particular, how I came to know you is through the Nutcracker. And the Nutcracker is a spectacular performance done by professional dancers,
Yes.
such as yourself, along with the students that you have. And you have students as young as, I want to say they're like 4 or 5 years old, some of those little guys.
Well, so in our academy, we take students as early as 3 years old, and we have all the way up to adult classes as well. But more so, students that are consistently in our training academy are from 3 to 18 years old.
Okay. Yeah. Mutual friends of ours that we've seen over the years do the Nutcracker every time that we've gone, you know, and I'm not a musical kind of guy, right? Or at least I you know, I'd never thought that I would actually like it. The first a musical I want to say that of note that I remember seeing was Wicked at the Pantages in Los Angeles, and that was spectacular. That was a lot of fun.
I haven't seen that one.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Man, that was the first musical that I can think of that I've seen, and I haven't seen many, of course, right? But where I thought, man, this is really entertaining, right? Like you could be a manly man, like, you know, a guy, right, and enjoy a show like this because it is, you know, it is just so much fun, right? But like when I think of like you know, I don't know, like Les Miserables or like I don't know. There's like Oklahoma, right? Like that does not appeal to me at all. As a guy, it just does not appeal. But then, you know, my daughter loves dance so much now that she's taking with you guys, and you know, I mean, it's infectious. Like her enthusiasm for it, you know, makes me enthusiastic to go and watch her perform, watch her friends and professionals such as yourself. So tell us how you got here now. And I know, based on our previous conversation, that it was a long and serendipitous route. Okay, so let's start off where you were born, and take it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I lived there for about 12 years. I'm actually the oldest of 7 children. And from New York, we moved to Connecticut, where a large portion of my extended family is. My mom is originally from British Guyana in South America. So we moved from Connecticut down to Florida, just looking for a change, for a new start. And I started my sophomore year at Port St. Lucie High School. And that was a whole adventure right there all on its own. Transitioning in the middle of my sophomore year in Connecticut, coming down to Florida, and then having to basically do my sophomore year all over again because my credits didn't transfer. So I was kind of, you know, that had its adventures. I was a little bit upset, depressed, everything else in between. And, excuse me. And I got my first taste of dance I had a bus stop buddy while I was in school, in high school. Anytime I was running late for the bus, she'd hold the bus, and every time she was running late, I'd hold the bus. So I'm a bus stop buddy. So she was actually enrolled in the dance program at Port St. Lucie High School. And one day she just popped up and she said, "Are you coming to my dance show?" And I was like, "You're what?" She's like, "Are you coming to my dance show?" I was like, "Where is it?" She's like, "Oh, it's at the school. You didn't know we have a dance program?" And I said, "No." At that time, I enrolled in the business academy. I had no idea what I wanted to do in life. As we talked before, I had a lot of different aspirations, from being an archaeologist, um, a lawyer, a dentist, all of those things. Ideas, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I said, like you, at that time, living in New York, I didn't have any desire to be a part of any performing arts.
So
Specifically
I
dance.
want to pause you right there
Yeah.
and let the audience know. Jermaine is a professional dancer.
Yeah.
Okay. He, now being the director at Florida Dance Theater, okay, which is a big job, he did not get his start dancing until your early 20s.
Yes, I didn't start actually like formal training until I was 20 years old. So when I was at Port St. Lucie High School, I just had about a year and a half of just introductions to dance, performing with the dance program there. And I didn't know, whether or not I wanted to do it or not, if I was good at it. And Brian Spector, who was, I don't, he might still be the dance teacher at PSL High. I enrolled. Well, let me rewind just a little bit. So that same bus stop buddy, I ended up going to see her perform. They actually took Aladdin, Dirty Dancing, and one of the Broadway musicals at the time, which was Aida. They put all three of those together and they made a big dance concert out of it. And so there were about 5 or 6 levels of dance students performing in these productions. And they also had some of the cheerleaders from Port St. Lucie High School, guys and girls, performing in the big concert. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh God, what did I get myself into? Because I wasn't interested in the performing arts at all. Growing up in New York City, people would say, "Are you crazy? Let's go to the show. It's amazing. It's this, it's that." And I was just like, "Okay, whatever." In elementary school, I did Peter Pan as like regular theater shows. I did Peter Pan and Pinocchio, and I think we also did The Frog Prince Continues. So just those three productions because we had to. It was a part of the curriculum for school at that time, and so I was just like, okay, whatever. I didn't have a desire to do it. So then moving to Florida, having a bus stop buddy and coming to see this show, they opened up the production with Aladdin. And I don't know what it was. If it was the bright colors, it was the guys flipping off the wall. I know that did get me. I was like, dude, I want to learn how to do that. That's sick. Mm-hmm. The guys just like running, flipping off the walls, flipping off of each other, grabbing the girls, throwing the girls in the air. And that caught my eye.
Wait a minute. Okay. And how old were you at this time?
I was I'd say 18.
18.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I mean, still, see, that's the thing. You got such a late start, man.
Yeah.
I mean, a tremendously late start, and we can go into the story about you and your professor. Okay, which is a great story that you should tell people. You know what? Please go ahead and tell the audience like what so you're in college at USF.
Yeah. So
okay. And you had a dance professor.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tell us that moment, that conversation, and get closer to the mic if you would,
okay,
please.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, long story short, so from Port St. Lucie High School, I auditioned to get a scholarship and to be placed in the dance program at Indian River Community College. Now, with our background, our family, my mom was a single parent at that time with 6 kids down here. And we didn't have money saved up for college, nothing of the sort. So I was just like, oh my God, I'm like, how am I going to pay for college? Freaking out. And so Brian Spector, the dance director at PSL High, said you should audition for a scholarship in the dance program at Indian River. And I was like, I just started dancing last year. I'm like, I'm not going to get in. He's like, no, just audition. He's like, you have it. You have something. You know, you'll get in. And I'm like, I don't think so. So I auditioned. I got a full scholarship. I had gotten a full scholarship to go to Indian River Community College, and I was there for 2 years. I got to work with amazing teachers. Molly McGee was the dance director at the time, and I had great experiences with everyone there in the fine arts department. I then transferred over to USF and danced there. It was really, really interesting experiences. Had great experiences, had some bad experiences, just like with life in general. But one experience that really hit me hard. At the time, I was working 5 jobs while going to school full time and participating in rehearsals for different pieces in the dance program. And I had just gotten off of my overnight job, working from 11 at night to 7 in the morning, and then having to commute from Brandon to Tampa, to New Tampa at the time to get my stuff, then go to USF. And I was ready for ballet class at 10 in the morning. I was just like, ugh, like all kinds of groggy.
Right.
And the ballet teacher at that time yelled at me in front of the whole entire class. She's like, you always look like you're in La La Land. You don't pay attention. You don't absorb the information. That's why when you go away to these summer programs this summer, all of the guys are going to be younger than you, faster than you, smarter and better because they pay attention. And again, this was in front of all of my, like 26 other students, and I'm feeling like crap now. I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm just like, you don't know what I'm going through just to be here right now. And she's like, I want to see you in my office tomorrow morning at 10:30. And I said, okay. So 10:30, all of my classmates were like, what? Oh my God. Because they knew that I was working my overnight job and everything else, you know, just to make ends meet. And I met with the instructor the next day. And I was asked, what would I like to do with dance? And I said, I was really transparent and realistic. And I said, well, I understand that I got a late start than most. So my opportunity for being a classical ballet dancer is not there, because I should have started when I was younger, like 6 or 7, to be really successful in that area. So I said, I would like to be a contemporary ballet dancer, a modern dancer. I'd like to teach, choreograph, and be commissioned to do work all around the world. And I'd eventually like to own my own professional company and academy. And the professor said, well, you're right. You can't be a classical ballet dancer. And they went on to say, you can't be a contemporary ballet dancer either because you need classical ballet training. And then the response after that was, you know what? I don't see you as a dancer at all. At best, you're a choreographer for entertainment. That's all you can do. And I had to stop for a second because I was just like, wait a minute. You're my classical ballet professor, and you're saying this to me. You know, and I just, you know, I was like, okay. In my head, I'm just like, well, dang, there's nothing else I can do. I might as well quit if this is what's coming at me, you know, at that time. And that's another reason why, just a sidebar, that's why you have to be careful, because you can speak life to someone or you can speak death to someone.
She spoke death to you.
Yeah. And so I was just like, but wait a minute. You're my classical ballet instructor. I'm busting my butt working these jobs and taking out student loans to pay to be here because I want this. You know, I've had professors tell me, oh, well, we don't think he wants this. So, you know, I've had guest choreographers tell me, you know, they've called me or pulled me aside and they say, look, you need to get it together. You need to, you know, I have some of your professors saying that you really don't want this. And you're just going to waste your time and waste your talent. You're just going to either stay here in Tampa or go back to Port St. Lucie and do nothing with dance. And so I was depressed for 2 years. And I, you know, it was bad. It was really bad. I was put on like academic probation because I was just like, maybe I should just quit.
2 years after that conversation,
Mhm.
and then of course subsequent conversations with other um, dance professionals, I guess. What did you do with yourself?
It was really interesting because it's really interesting because I had to make up my mind for myself, not for anyone else, for myself. And I put so much into being a dancer. You know, I didn't have a lot of opportunities like other people did. And I'm not pulling that as a card as well, because my mom has always said there's always a way to do something. You just need to take a step back, get outside yourself and figure it out. You know, there's always resources around you to make yourself successful. And she also used to say, she still says it, um, let your eye form beauty in whatever it sees. And so I legitimately had to take a step back. And I'm like, I'm the oldest of 7 kids. I say I'm going to school for this. My brothers and sisters are all looking up to me. My youngest sister is 15 years younger than me. She actually just left and she's in the military now, which I'm like, whoa, totally different. But every single one of them is looking at me. Even though they may not say it, I want to be a great example to them. And if I'm starting this and I'm pursuing this and I quit now, you know, what is that saying to them? You know? So, and even not only that, but just being who I am, being, you know, the first generation born in the United States, uh, the first person in our family to actually step out into a field that none of us has ever, no one in my family has ever thought of doing or being a part of. And so I wanted to be that example. Like, no, I can be successful. I want to be that person, you know? So I said, I got to finish. I got to finish, you know, no matter what, I'm going to push to make it. And so I knew that there were a lot of people talking behind my back. I heard it, you know, I blatantly heard it. And so I was just like, you know, as politely as I could, go fly a kite. You know, one of those things.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, I it was my last semester at USF. I pushed to graduate the dance program, and I decided to leave USF. I had 2 more credits to complete my bachelor's degree, and I with senior seminar we had to research dance companies that we would potentially like to be a part of, and what do we want to do after college. And so at the time I researched Aspen Santa Fe Ballet, and I also looked at another dance company and other choreographers that I'd like to work with. But I never thought of myself as being a person dancing for a company because I didn't want to be tied down. I just wanted to be free to do whatever I want to do. And so I researched and I found Florida Dance Theater. I also wanted to be a part of an organization that was giving back to the community. It wasn't just about teaching dance classes and performing. I wanted to really make a difference, be a part of something greater than myself. And I found Florida Dance Theater. They did some community outreach programs as well as had a professional company and a school. And I was like, you know what? Fine. I wasn't 100% sold on it, but I was like, you know what? This is what's here right now. Let's see what happens. Because in the back of my head, also being the oldest of 7, one of my concerns was, okay, if I decide to go dance for a professional company or dance on a cruise ship, I'd be away from my family. What if something happened and I needed to get to them and I couldn't? So that was another thing that was in the back of my head. So I, the year that I got to perform for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Scotland through USF, I auditioned for Florida Dance Theater later. I want to say right before I left to go to Scotland. And funny enough, that was 6 months, not even 6 months, I had just really come back up here to dance, like physically, like performing or taking as much classes and everything like that. That's when I started to retrain, and I was like, I'm not going to get into this company. Like just thinking, again. And right when I got back, actually right before I left for Scotland, the week before I left, I got a notification from Carol Irks, who's the founding director, inviting me to be a part of the company. And I was like, whoa, okay, let's see what happens, And it just kept on going from there.
Right. How long ago was that?
Oh boy, we're in 2021 now, 2012, so
2012.
about 8-9 years.
8-9 years ago. 8-9 years ago, joining the company.
Yep.
To now, fast forward to running the company.
Yes, as of July of 2019.
Dang, man, that's an accomplishment. That's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Right. Right. I mean, your professor that gave you the death letter to your aspirations and having a career in dance probably did you a solid.
Looking back, yes.
Because she knew, and she could have very well been correct, logically.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, hey, she could have probably put it to you a lot nicer. Right?
Yeah.
And maybe putting it to you nicer would have definitely put the nail in the coffin in your dance career. Right? Mm-hmm. But she was mean about it. Right? Mm-hmm. And she was probably, rude in saying it in that way, but to be so blunt.
Mm-hmm.
But you just did it anyway.
Yeah. What's interesting? Like, besides that conversation, I had, professors also tell me that I couldn't compete with an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old because, I'm just not, by that standards, I'm not, younger. I'm getting older and my window for performing is closing and all this other stuff. And I had to take all of that stuff and turn it into fuel. And even now, my birthday's next week, actually. And, I joke around with my dancers and I'm like, I'm getting too old for this. I can't do this anymore.
How old are you?
I'm going to be 37.
37. Yeah, you're not a young buck. Dude, I'm 44, man. Hey, when 40 comes a knocking, things change.
And the thing about it, too, though, is it's just like, even earlier on, I had one of my, I call him my dance mentors. Just talking with him, he's like 50. We actually share the same birthday. He's like 50, 51. He's like, and he's still dancing. He's just like doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And I'm like, dude, you're 50. What are you doing? You should be chilling out. But nope, still doing stuff. And
right.
It's a mindset first. It's what you tell yourself up here, then it resonates here, and then the body follows.
Yeah. There's a light switch, man.
Yeah.
When that 40 button gets pressed, there's some, your body undergoes some changes, and I'm sure the gentleman you're speaking of that's in his 50s, like he's had to made some adjustments in how he trains and how he conditions his body to make it sustainable for him, right?
Yeah, he does cross train from what I understand. He just in addition to doing like classical ballet work, he is an MMA fighter.
What?
Yeah. He used to do that back in the day, and he still trains and stuff like that.
Really? Okay. All right. Classical dancer come MMA fighter.
Yeah, I'm just like,
that's pretty cool. All right. I'd like to find out who this guy is. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Hey Jermaine, you run the company now, okay, at Florida Dance Theater, and there's a lot of people. There's a lot of students, right? And you guys put on these massive productions, and kudos to you. For all that work. What do you want?
Wow. Honestly, I definitely would like for, not just for myself, but our organization to be, engrafted and connected more, within the community, that we learn more how to serve, another level of serving the community. I feel as though a lot of times we can be in our little groups, and I call it being in our ivory tower, sometimes I joke with my staff and I'm like, I'm in the ivory tower now. I got to get stuff done. I have a great artistic and academy director that, they're over the company and the academy, and the three of us work together as a great team to push the mission forward and to diversify the way that we're serving the community. So I feel as though as we're taking it to another level, that we would like to really be plugged in and learn from the community what the needs are. Because we can be we can say, okay, this is our mission. This is what we want to do. And we can push all the things that we want. But if we don't hear what the community needs, it's just a one-sided conversation.
Okay. You gave us the heroic answer. You gave us the hero answer, man.
No,
what do you want? I'm not talking about the studio. I'm not talking about the company. What do you want, man? Come on.
Me personally?
Yeah.
What are you expecting answers like, I want more money?
Well, yeah, why not? We could all use extra cash, sure.
I think that's everyone's answer. I'd like more money to empower. No, okay. To be really completely
empower.
honest.
How about just to live more comfortably?
For myself, I'd like to live more comfortably. I'd like to, be a part of something greater than myself, whatever that higher level means. Whether it be me gaining more financial wealth for not just for myself, but to empower others, to help people grow in whatever way, shape, or form. That's what I'd like to do.
Right. When people say that money doesn't cure everything, they're right. It doesn't cure everything. Mm-hmm. But it certainly frees time up to do things that are meaningful to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like as I get older, the idea of having wealth doesn't mean material things as much as it means being able to allocate time to things that you want to focus on that are important to you. And that is like true freedom. Having financial wealth, perhaps financial freedom is a better way to put it. Yeah.
I agree.
And hell yeah, it feels good to drive something that you like driving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, we talked about injuries, and I got 3 herniated discs recently. I found, and you told me that you have nothing between 2 of your segments of your spine.
Yes.
How'd that happen?
So I was.
So is a whole see you being a dancer, right? People that don't know about being an athlete. Being a dancer is being an athlete. Like it takes a toll on your body. People think athlete, they think football players, basketball players, fighters, etc. Don't think of dancers. No, dancing it is highly taxing on your body. And I mean, and the amount of core work that you guys have to do, and you're lifting up people into the air, straight up overhead, ladies, straight up over your head, twirling them around, etc. Anyway, so you had an injury, and they found something, or they found that you lacked something.
Yeah. So I was at USF at the time. We were preparing for an original work called What the Heart Remembers, the Women and Children in Darfur, Africa. So basically that program, that whole production was surrounding and wanting to create awareness about the genocide that was going on in Darfur, Africa. It was original collaboration between the theater and dance professors at USF. So one section that we were working on, it was a love duet. And so I was the guy, and then I also had a partner. And so we were doing a lift. And so basically she had about 2 steps to run towards me, and I had to grab her, spin her around, and flip her to get up on my left shoulder, and then turn her around twice and just suspend it up there. And I did it, and we did the lift many times before, and we're just rehearsing the work and adding on. And so we did it, and I twist, and my back popped twice. And from my belly button down, I couldn't feel anything for like a split second, maybe more like 10 to 20 seconds. I couldn't feel anything, and I was like, I can't feel my legs. And then all of a sudden, everything felt hot, and I was like, whoa! And I put her down and everything. And I was like, I can't feel and I dropped on the floor. and I had to lay on ice for about 45 minutes to an hour. So when while I'm laying on the ground, we're still talking through the work and everything like that, and the teacher's still I'm like, no, add on because I'm recording up here. Let's go, And it was time to go. I couldn't straighten my back. I couldn't straighten my legs. So, and I couldn't do that for about 3 days. Went to the chiropractor, and I was taking ibuprofen, try to stretch it out and everything, but it was rough. Went to the chiropractor, and I got an adjustment, and he also put me on a, I don't know.
Decompression table.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd love to have one of those.
Yeah, those things are godsend, man.
Just,
They feel so good.
dropped.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And he just pulled and then dropped it, and I heard click, click. And I was like, whoa, okay. Then we ended up taking an x-ray. But he said, look, right here. And I was like, okay, what are we looking at? He's like, this is your spine. He's like, look here, ligament, bone, gap, bone, ligament, bone. And I was like, so what's the gap? Like
What's in there?
What's going on? What's that? He's like, there's nothing there. I'm like, what do you mean there's nothing there? He's like, you're supposed to have a ligament right there. There's nothing there. It's gone. And I said, well, where'd it go? Like literally, where'd it go? He's like, well, I don't know. We don't see any shadows of fragments of it. If it actually tore and portions of it were on either bone or floating inside, it's gone, completely gone.
Damn.
And I said, okay, what does that mean exactly? He's like, well, there's nothing we really can do. I'm like, he's like, you're going to have to cross train to strengthen the muscles around it so that it doesn't shift. Or because if it shifts and it either bends either way, you could end up pressing on nerves and start grinding. It'll be bone on bone grinding. And I was like, okay, so does this mean I can't dance anymore? Like what? He's like, well, this depends on you. And I was like, all right.
And so cross training begins, and dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you got nothing. You have no ligament in between
my L4 and L5.
Dang, good grief, man.
Yeah. The car accident didn't help either. So.
Oh yeah. You got squished between two cars.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That.
It was, and that was after my first year of dancing at FDT. I was on my way. I was taking ballet class in Tampa with one of my ballet teachers, and I was driving to Lakeland, and I'm at the stoplight on Fowler Avenue in Tampa, and I just had this random feeling. I look up in the rearview mirror, and this car is flying at me like 45, 50 miles an hour, and I'm like, no way. Literally, I'm like, no. Boom. And the cars in front of me, no one moved because the light was red.
Did the airbags go off?
No, the airbags did not go off.
Whoa.
And so I'm in the middle here. This Nissan Xterra is right there. And this Ford Focus just goes shh, doosh. And I was driving a rental car. So the car that I was driving just really smashed in like an accordion. The trunk smashed in. The everything in the front smashed in. And I was just like,
dang! Hey, did you pay for the extra insurance?
Oh my gosh! Yes, like I was like, oh my gosh! And it was like,
so you did? You paid like the extra what? $10 is it?
Yes.
I never pay for that.
And I was like, man. And so it was a good thing because the rental company was literally like around the corner and down the road.
Yeah.
So I called him and I was like, I was just in a car accident. It was not my fault. I was rear-ended. And the guy, he jumped in. He had a white Mustang. He jumped in that white Mustang and flew over there within 5 minutes. And the police were, while the police came and everything like that, the girl didn't get out the car until the police came. And I actually think she was texting. Because I'm like, no way. There's no way you couldn't see 10 cars at a stop
dude,
sign.
that freaks me out because I see on the road. I mean, if you're not looking at your phone, you're really looking at the road, right?
Yeah.
Or you should be.
Yeah.
And then you see other people as they drive by, and they're their chin is down to their chest. You're like, oh, you're texting. You're looking at your phone.
Yep.
That's so dangerous, man.
It's scary.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing. Hey, where do you like to eat in town?
Ooh.
What's your go-to eateries?
See, that's hard.
Why?
I like food.
Who doesn't?
I like food.
All right.
I honestly, Ooh, that's rough.
I just whatever. Just pick one that pops in your head.
I mean, I like Harry's. I like the joinery. I like their
Yeah.
the ramen bowl.
Sabu. Yeah.
Yeah. Palace Pizza is my go-to, like quick in and out to grab a slice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been to Cafe Roti yet. I like to try different
things.
types of food. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like sushi.
Okay. Where? Sumo or Gosh or where?
I have not been to Gosh.
Yeah.
I went to New Moon.
New Moon. Okay.
I went to
yeah.
New Moon. Let's see what else. I like chips and salsa, so I like abuelos. I'm all over the place. All over the place.
Hey, have you tried Mega Mercado yet?
Yes.
You have? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that spot's legit. Shout out to John Sierra for taking me there that one day. Whoa.
It's so good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know it's good when it's attached to, a Latin grocery store, man.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and it's a trek. It's not like if you're on the south side, you got to kind of go out, Wabash and whatever to get to it.
Yeah.
And it's legit good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
The salsas. Yeah.
I had the cow tongue taco. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, delicious.
Huh.
Yeah. I like weird food, man.
Well, no, because being from South America, like my mom, so they're more West Indian inspired with their cuisine, and so I'm more familiar with like curries and things like that. So my grandma, one time she passed away a couple months ago, but once my grandma was making curry, and she's like, "Oh, I'm making curry." We're like, "Okay." And I opened the refrigerator. Well, no, I had gotten home from work because that was my first job. I was working at a movie theater. And so she's like, "Oh, I'm cooking for my grandson." I'm like, "Hey, grandma," every time. "Did you eat? Are you hungry? Did you eat?" So always feeding, always feeding. And so she made curry, and anytime grandma cooks, it's
the best.
Yes.
It's the best.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And so grandma's making curry, so I'm like, I go to the kitchen. She's like, "Oh yeah, help yourself." So I'm, taking out the rice, and I open the pot, and I'm taking out the curry, and I was like,
"What is that,
Grandma? What is that?" I'm like, because curry, most of the time it's yellow,
right?
And so you have different kinds of curries. So some of them might be a little bit more brighter yellow, some might be a deeper yellow, some might even be red.
Like okay,
yeah. And so I said, "Grandma, what is this? It's glowing. It's like a neon color in the curry." And she's like, "Oh, it's curry. Eat it." And I was like, "What is that?"
Okay.
So my uncle was like, "Oh, I don't know if you want to eat that curry." And I was like, "It's grandma's cooking. What are you talking about? You always want to eat grandma's."
What is it?
Iguana.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. And?
I didn't try. I was like,
"Oh, how dare you!"
No.
I saw it in a Anthony Bourdain show once where they were eating iguana.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Like, the meat it glows, it glistens, so it's like it has like this neon reflective, and I was like, "No way."
I heard it tastes like chicken. That's what I hear.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I'll eat it.
So I was just like, "It's iguana." I was like, "Nope."
Nope. Where did she get the iguana?
I don't know. I have no idea. Like usually with her, she'll go to like some market, like off the beaten path. You're like,
right?
What? Where'd you get this? "Oh, I got this at this market down there." I'm like, okay, it was
Yeah.
So, which I love. It's so funny. It's so funny. Like being the first generation, in the United States, you know all the ways that people, from other countries, how they get by, how they make ends meet, and they're like, "Look, this is what we've got, so we use it."
That's right.
We make it work, and I'm like, okay, and that's, I appreciate that. That's super resourceful,
right?
Like my
mom.
oh my God.
It's like home cooking.
Yeah,
is different than restaurant cooking.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Like home cooking, you're gonna use parts of the animal that it's not celebrated.
Common. Yeah.
You know, like I don't know, like oxtail,
I love
right?
oxtail.
Like oxtail, that's delicious.
Love oxtail.
You cook it right, it's delicious. And a lot of Asian countries use oxtail, right? Or like bone broth. You know, who would have thought to reduce marrow,
Yeah.
right? And it's delicious. And now everyone's like hip on it, you know. But
Or
yeah.
cow's feet.
Cow's feet. Yeah. I don't think I've ever had it though. Like chicken feet. I haven't. Did I have chicken feet? Have you had chicken feet?
Yes.
Like I've like Koreans. You know, they have like their double fried chicken wings, right? But they do it also for chicken feet as well. And I think I've had it. It's good. Just get over the fact that you got like a talon. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was younger, and my grandma would make chicken feet.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is it? And I tried the first one. I was like, oh my God, it's so good.
Right, it's so good.
Like,
Yeah, you
but
just got to get your mind.
yeah.
You have to wrap your mind around the fact that you're having something that you just wouldn't otherwise like.
I love bulgogi.
Oh, bulgogi? Yeah. That is the gateway drug of Korean cuisine. Is bulgogi. Bulgogi is Korean style barbecued beef or pork or chicken. Right. Yeah.
I love it. My first time so our academy director, Molly Ayler,
She's Korean, isn't she? Yeah.
Yes. And so we went to a progressive ballet technique training class, like certification class in Miami. And so the first night we were there, she's like, let's look for a Korean place. And I was like, okay, sure. So we found one and we went there. She's like, you're going to like this. And I was like, okay, sure. I'm up for trying anything. And everything was so good. I was like, oh my God, we got to come back here. You know? And then we found a place in Sarasota that authentic.
Yeah.
And so we're like, all right, let's go. So we went there. I forgot. We had to go there for, it was back in like November, December of this past year.
Yeah.
And we sat down, we ate food, and it was really good.
Yeah.
So
Korean food, man, and I love going to like Korean restaurants here, like locally, but like Tampa. There's this place like right off Dale Mabry. It's like spectacular. It's so good. You know, it's like a hole in the wall. It's a dive, but you walk in and there's all ethnicities in there, right? White people, black people, everybody, you name it. You know, and they're just ordering up.
Yeah.
They know what they like. And I'm like, respect.
Yeah.
Respect.
It's so
good.
So good.
Hey, man, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how can people find Florida Dance Theater?
Well, we have Instagram, Florida Dance Theater. We also have a Facebook page, Florida Dance Theater.
Right.
And floridadancetheater.org is where you can find out information on upcoming events. Or you can even email us and we'll tell you some of the things that we have brewing in the kitchen that we haven't even, advertised yet. We're actually working on a few different projects.
Cool.
That we're going to release soon.
Excellent. And hey, if you want to take dance lessons, man, that's the go-to spot.
Thanks.
Right? Yeah. Hey, thanks for coming on the show again, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Jae Choe Show. Brought to you by Karate Beyond. Discipline, focus, confidence. KarateBeyond.com.